The Raiders hire Dave Zeigler as the new general manager, as well as Josh McDaniels as their new head coach. We've been anticipating this. We've been looking forward to this. And I don't know which side of the fence you were on about this, man, but it is happening, and we got to deal with it at this point. Am I excited about it? I'll let you know in this video. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Make sure to hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button. Now let's jump into it and talk about this hire, because it is going to be important for us for these next few hopefully more than a few years to come, because if we're successful, it'll be happening a long time. If it's not successful, we'll have a new coach and GM in a couple of years, and hopefully that doesn't happen. But yo, I'm excited because finally we have somebody in the seat. Finally, we have somebody that could come in and take over and make the decisions that need to be made so we can move on into the season. We were 10-7 last year. We made the playoffs. It's nothing but up from here. If we decline, who is that on? You know, you have to kind of put it on the GM and the coach at this point. But I think on a positive note, we should be going on the up and up. Josh McDaniels is known for using tight ends. We know John Gruden was the same way, but Josh McDaniels is definitely more creative. He'll bring in a system that will definitely have Morrow getting in some burn. Waller will get some burn. They will both be out there, and we'll be able to attack defenses a little bit different. Also with Josh McDaniels, he's able to get a run game going. If you look at the Patriots' offenses, their run game has always been predominantly top 10 since he's been there. His offenses in general have been top 10 since he's been there. He's only had an offense outside of top 10 one time, which was 2020 when he had Cam Newton out there. And I believe Cam Newton also missed games. So that year was was really an anomaly when it came to Josh McDaniels coaching. But outside of that, like I said, top 10. So bringing that in, let's just continue to be positive and try to stick with that, and based off of the history he has as the offensive coordinator. Now we know he's coming in as a head coach, and the fact that he's going to be head coach, I just don't want him to have too much power. I don't want him to have power to where he's going to really be choosing the draft picks, to where he's going to be choosing too much of the free agents. I know he will have say because he's the head coach, but I just don't want him to have all the say, right? Let's make sure. I want Dave Zeigler to have most of the power. Like, dude, you make the decisions as a GM, and Josh McDaniels, you make the decisions as a head coach. That's where I think they need to make sure that power, that line of power, is split between the two. Because I don't want another John Gruden situation to where he has all control and making all the decisions. Also, Josh McDaniels had that when he was with the Broncos. He took Tim Tebow in the first round, and a lot of people bag him for that. And he didn't have a good stint with the Broncos his first time around as a head coach. So hopefully this second time around, he does a lot better. As far as Dave Zeigler, this is his first time being a GM. Last year, he was the director of player personnel for the New England Patriots, and was his first year taking over for the New England Patriots as far as that decision-making was going. Bill Belichick was the guy that made the decisions beforehand. Last year was the first time Zeigler and company took over, and they were able to somewhat flip that roster, somewhat push that roster back into the playoffs. They went and got Mac Jones, which is a pretty decent quarterback. I'm not the biggest fan, but they still got a quarterback that they could work with. They got Ramondre Stevenson, a pretty good running back. They were able to get more pieces and sign in free agency to put on that defense for it to continue to stay at that top 10, top 5 level, which it was this year. So is this a good hire? In my opinion, I think it is a good hire. Getting both of them as a duo, I think, shows that we want to be consistent. We want to have stability, and we're looking for the long term. We want to keep guys around together for a long while, because you think back to this franchise, you can think back before we got Derek Carr. Since 2002, I can't even count on my hands how many head coaches we've had, right? We've had several GMs since then. We've had several quarterbacks. If we bring these two in, we could have some consistency and not too much of a power struggle where we have a GM doing what GM does and a head coach doing what a head coach does. Because it didn't work. It didn't work what we just did with John Gruden. He had to resign for reasons that we already know. So this right here, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this hire coming from Mark Davis. Was it bold of him? Was it risky? Was it too much, or was it too little? Y'all let me know. And the fact that we didn't look at John Harbaugh, or we didn't request to interview him, that's somewhat interesting to say the least, in my opinion. I feel like he deserved it, but when you think about it and you take a step back, it's almost like Mark Davis knew who he wanted to get. Mark Davis knew he wanted to go get Josh McDaniels at a certain point throughout this process, because once it came up, it's almost like it was a done deal. So I wonder what that was that made him really come out there and say, look, we want to request to interview Josh McDaniels. And once that happened, it was like he got the job. So I wonder what that was, that dynamic behind the scenes. So y'all let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this hire. New general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders, Dave Zeigler, as well as head coach Josh McDaniels. It's an exciting year. We have a lot to look forward to. I hope we're able to continue prospering and doing well. Like I said, we made the playoffs last year. 10-7, no excuses, just win, baby. Until next time, y'all, rate the tape.